What we found in the industry is it seems to be a lot of the same speakers at the same shows. And it's a smaller industry, surprisingly, and we tend to go out and look for a lot of legal speakers, a lot of medical speakers. We look for a lot more professionals that are looking at this industry from the outside in, which is a good way for the people to see what the opportunities are as this industry grows, not where it's at, but where it's going to. So we really focus a lot on that. We focus a lot more on investor data and research. So our meetings with our investors are to talk about what's going to happen in California with MRSA, for example, which is the Medical Marijuana Safety and Regulation Act. It's an acronym for everything, right? But the key is regulation creates opportunity. So the investors need to understand what that opportunity is. At the same time, for the people that are in the industry, the cultivation systems, the dispensaries that are in the industry, they need to know what's going to happen because they've got to spend money to become compliant with all the regulations. They need access to that capital. So by us connecting the investors with those people and with the suppliers and the partners, everything through the expo floor, we create a really good winning solution for everybody to meet, find out what they need, and be able to put the money together. And nobody really does it in that way. A lot of people got into this business, and the first thing they thought is I'm going to invest money and I'm going to become a billionaire as a drug dealer, right? Drug dealers make money, so if I invest and become a drug dealer, I'm going to make money. And that's not necessarily true. As we become more and more regulated, you need to, one, be compliant with regulations, and two, you need to be compliant with securities laws. And we teach a lot of that. We bring in accountants, we bring in attorneys that are securities attorneys to speak. I think that we probably have 4 or 5 different securities attorneys speaking that talk about corporate formation to make sure that the investor's protected, as well as the company. If they don't have good corporate governance, they can be in default. They can be found in violation of securities laws. They can have tax problems. So we really focus very heavily on those pieces of it where nobody else really does. What they'll talk about is how to grow a plant, which is good, and that has its place. But we'll talk more about, once you grow the plant, how do you track it? How do you make sure that you pay the taxes on it? How do you make sure that the revenues are tracked for the investors, that they're investing in a company that's going to be compliant and not shut down? You know, even businesses that are out here, Midwest was raided just a couple of weeks ago. We don't know what the situation is. I hope that they're good. They're great people. But if you're not compliant, it creates risk for everybody. And so that's a big piece of what we go over and teach. At our show, we have 30% of the people that are attending own or operate a legal cannabis business. 40% of the people that are attending are accredited investors. 80% are interested in cultivation. 80% are interested in dispensing. 80% are interested, it's like these huge numbers. There's 3 main parts. It's your manufactured goods, it's dispensing, and it's agriculture. So the key is if they can take away and understand what they're going to need to be and start doing now to be compliant by January 1st of 2018, what kind of money and capital they're going to need to become compliant. What equipment do they need? What kind of RFID devices are going to need? You've got to track everything. You've got to package everything. So the people that are in our exhibitors help teach the people as well. Going through here and talking to a packaging company, they're very knowledgeable on what the laws are going to be about packaging. You don't have to attend a session to get educated. Go out on the floor and talk to the packaging companies, talk to companies that are doing extraction. They can talk about the fact of what the difference is between solventless versus solvent extraction and what difference that makes and how that's going to be affected with the new laws. They really understand it. So it's not just going to the sessions, it's talking to every exhibitor about what do you do and how can you help me in my needs to be compliant with the new rules. We're not really a consumer conference, we're a business to business, so there's a lot more buyers. So while we don't pack the floor with people that are attending that are here to look at pipes or what they want to smoke in tonight, it's a little bit higher end. And through that, the exhibitors get a lot more buyers, they get a lot more partners, they get potential for licensing, because many of our largest investors invest in multiple states. They're in operations in multiple states. One of the people that's here, I won't mention who they are because they don't want to be known, but they actually run operations in 8 different states. They're looking for products that they can license. They're looking for products that they can buy and roll into it. So there's merger work, acquisition work. This whole industry is going to become a major roll-up of different brands, different dispensaries. So there's this partnership working that goes on here that I think is just immense and is going to be key for how this industry grows. We change for to take into effect what the local climate is, as well as play across how that compares to the national climate. So that type of knowledge, when you come to an event that we do in Las Vegas, will have a lot of different content that talks about Nevada, as well as how Nevada's laws will play into the national laws and plays into California. So there's a lot of local opportunity that comes with this, and I think that that's one of the keys that we keep bringing as we go across. So we'll do New York this year in June. We'll do Los Angeles in September. We did Portland, which is Oregon, which is one of the newest rec states. We tend to focus on the states where the product is legal medically or recreationally, and then we bring that regional focus and that local focus combined with our national spread that I don't think anybody else really brings in that type of knowledge. We look for local people that are very knowledgeable in the local industries and the local laws. So we're not bringing in a Colorado attorney to talk about California laws. We also talk a lot more about funding than a lot of the companies do, which is of interest to everybody. Whether you're an exhibitor and you need money for inventory because your business is growing and you've got to stock more inventory to supply more customers, or whether you're an entrepreneur that's starting or anything like that, that investor education that we give and the ability to help them across multiple funding cycles. Cannabis, which will be done this time, is totally new. What we're doing is actually focusing on 4 emerging growth companies that already have at least $1 million revenue run rate, that they're seeking money. They're going to go in what's called testing the waters to become a public company. Their whole goal is they need money for growth. All of the exhibitors, they need money for growth. Everybody that's out here, as this industry grows, businesses are constantly in need for access to capital, and we're in an industry where a lot of that capital gets shut down because of the banking laws. So by us creating those paths for access to capital, whether you're an exhibitor, an entrepreneur, a new startup, it's tremendous what we've tried to do and where we think we're going with it. So the first thing is let's bring the show to where the business is and expose the exhibitors that are in this industry that are helping cultivators and helping dispensaries grow, and the investors that want to be in this space. So they want to be investing in markets that are growing, and this is the biggest market, and it's going to be the biggest growth market. So just kind of makes sense. It's California.